Today we are working on Psalm 109. Now, Psalm 109 is one of the main cursing psalms, or psalms of imprecation. You're safe if you use the psalm as it is given in the Bible, because ultimately what we're doing is we are going through the machinations of wanting to curse somebody, and we are really getting to the bottom of it as to why we want to curse this person, what they've done to us, how they've wronged us, and what we want to see happen to them. But we do it in such a way when we're working psalm magic that then we give that desire over to a higher power to handle it on our behalf, and that keeps us out of trouble. It keeps us out of mischief. It's a wonderful way to not kind of run away from what we're feeling about the situation, and at the same time feel like we're getting our needs met, but without cursing ourselves at the same time. And what I mean by that is that every thought that we have comes from us, and an idea doesn't leave the source of its origin. And so if you want to harm somebody and you're extending out thoughts of harming another person, the reason why it appears as though when it comes back on you, or that it comes back on you multiplied, is because it never left you in the first place, because there's no place for it to go, because your mind is all you have. So nothing actually leaves your mind, but your mind has the tendency to expand. And so by the time things start to manifest for you in your world, things have already increased. So that's why a lot of craft traditions say what you send out comes back to you ×3 or ×9 or whatever they happen to be using as their number. It's just an illusion. It appears that that's what's happening, but it really never left you in the first place. But that doesn't mean that cursing doesn't have its place. And so if there is somebody in your life that's causing you real problems, you can use this curse, quote, against them and still keep yourself safe, because what you're actually asking to have done is, by the time you get to the end of this curse and you've kind of gone through it and you've felt what you're feeling and you've felt that desire to harm another and you've kind of gone through that and worked through that, you give it to your higher power, and then that higher power takes care of the situation for you. And so you're safe when you work a curse in this manner. I've done another video for this same psalm, and it's more about cursing errant thought forms. But today we're actually going to think about a person or a group of people in your life that, or in the world, that you feel are very, very troublesome and that you feel deserve punishment. And we're going to actually do this curse on them, but with the understanding that we're not cursing them ourselves. We are giving this idea of cursing to a higher power to kind of clean it up for us and make sure that it's taken care of in a way that's safe for us and actually ultimately benefits everyone. The way we work psalm magic is extremely simple. We take the psalm in question and we read it through out loud all the way once without stopping. That's called an incantation. And then we go back through that psalm and we take everything verse by verse, and we consider the deep inner occult meanings within each verse. And it's through that digging, searching, and applying what we find there to whatever the issue that we brought to the psalm that we are discovering and then planting magical seeds of wisdom that we find within the psalm. And when we do that, those seeds actually take root and grow, and then they blossom forth and they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what we are going to do together today with Psalm 109. Hold not thy peace, O God of my praise, for the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are opened against me. They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. They have compassed me about also with words of hatred, and fought against me without a cause. For my love they are my adversaries, but I give myself unto prayer. And they have rewarded me evil for good, and hatred for my love. Set thou a wicked man over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand. When he shall be judged, let him be condemned, and let his prayer become sin. Let his days be few, and let another take his office. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow. Let his children be continually vagabonds and beg. Let them seek their bread also out of their desolate places. Let the extortioner catch all that he hath, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off, and in the generation following let their name be blotted out. Let the iniquity of his fathers be remembered with the Lord, and let not the sin of his mother be blotted out. Let them be before the Lord continually, that he may cut off the memory of them from the earth, because he remembered not to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and the needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. As he loved cursing, so let it come unto him. As he delighted not in blessing, so let it be far from him. As he clothed himself with cursing, like as with his garment, so let it come unto his bowels like water, and like oil into his bones. Let it be unto him as a garment which covereth him, and for a girdle wherewith he is girded continually. Let this be the reward of mine adversaries from the Lord, and let them that speak evil against my soul. But do thou for me, O God the Lord, for thy name's sake, because thy mercy is good. Deliver thou me, for I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me. I am gone like the shadow when it declineth. I am tossed up and down as the locust. My knees are weak through fasting, and my flesh faileth of fatness. I became also a reproach unto them when they looked upon me, and they shaked their heads. Help me, O Lord my God, O save me according to thy mercy, that they may know that this is thy hand, that thou, Lord, hast done it. Let them curse, but bless thou. When they arise, let them be ashamed, but let thy servant rejoice. Let mine adversaries be clothed with shame, and let them cover themselves with their own confusion as with a mantle. I will greatly praise the Lord with my mouth. Yea, I will praise him among the multitude. For he shall stand at the right hand of the poor, to save him from those that condemn his soul. That's a nice little ditty, isn't it? How sweet. All right, so let's get through this. Hold not thy peace, O God of my praise. Now we are addressing God in this psalm as Elohim in the Hebrew of the Bible. So this is the council that is God, the unity, the collective that is God. So Elohim means the gods, and so God as a collective is one. So there's only one. There's one power, one source, one force, and one substance, and that power can be refracted like a prism does with a rainbow. So there is one power, but it can be expressed as many. So hold not thy peace, O God of my praise. Now, when we say hold thy peace, that means like be quiet. So don't be quiet, God. Don't not have a conversation with me. Let's talk. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are open against me. So we are being very clear about the fact that there's a problem here, and this problem is this person or these people. Now, we recognize when we work these Psalms that anything that we experience in the world of form has its counterpart within thought forms that are inside our own minds. So even though we have an object of our disdain in the world, we recognize that in order for this to be cleared up, we have to clear up as well. So there's a tacit implication when we work this psalm that even though we're upset with how we're being treated by this person or these people, that we are also acknowledging that it has its origin within our minds and within a thought form within our minds as well. The mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are opened against me. So the thought forms within our own mind that are deceitful and wicked and lie to us, that is basically our ego mind, they people our environment with people that do the same back to us. And so now we are acknowledging that the object of this disdain in the physical world is what we are talking about, and that we are being lied about. People are being deceitful toward us. They compass me about also with words of hatred and fought against me without a cause. So sometimes people, just hate you and you don't know why. There's no reason for you to. Why do you hate me so much? What are you doing? Why are you against me? I don't understand that. Now, some of us don't experience that, and that's wonderful. But you do experience that, I'm sure, from your own self. even if you don't have a person out there that's doing this to you. You do that to yourself all the time. You're constantly lying to yourself. You're constantly deceiving yourself. You're constantly putting yourself in situations where it seems like the problems that you have are unsolvable. Right? So that's what the ego mind does. So regardless of whether there's a person or people in the physical world, at least you know that that's true in regards to thought forms within your mind. For my love, they are my adversaries. So I've tried to be nice to them. I've prayed for them, or I've thought good thoughts about them. I've blessed them. I've released them. I've done that part, and they're still being jerks. But I give myself unto prayer. I do my work. I do my spiritual work. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and still this is happening. They have rewarded me evil for good and hatred for my love. But you see, that's the ego. The ego only doesn't understand anything but what its role is. And its role is to separate. Cause problem. That ego wants to make sure that we believe that those problems that are caused are not solvable, and that we need to follow it and not spirit. That's what evil for good is. Now, there's a reflection of that oftentimes in the world, where people, no matter how kind we are to them, they are just awful back to us. Set thou a wicked man over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand. This is kind of the crux of the whole curse here. Infinite intelligence, you need to take care of this. And the way I want you to take care of this, make sure it's evil. Make sure that it's not some nice spirit. Make sure that you send your most evil out there to take care of it for me. And then it says, and let Satan stand at his right hand. Now, Satan here is not a dude called Satan. Satan, in this regard, you could look at it as an office, the office of the prosecution. It's like the DA. So just like if somebody stole from you, or somebody embezzled from you, or somebody beat you up, or somebody killed your spouse, right? In the physical world, somebody did horrible things to you. You wouldn't just go, oh, I hope everything works out okay. No, you would call the cops. You would make sure that the DA gets on top of that, to make sure that this person gets removed from society, that this person is held accountable. And that's what Satan is. That Satan is like the DA. Satan is the prosecutor or the accuser. When he shall be judged, let him be condemned, and let his prayer become sin. So that's what we want. Ultimately, we want this for our thought forms, because ultimately, even though we have these thoughts about this person maybe, or these people, and that we want these things to happen to this person or these people, ultimately this person or these people will be forgiven. Ultimately, this person or these people will come around. Maybe not in this life, maybe not when we know it, but they are going to be okay, and you're going to be okay, because that's just the way things are set up. There's no soul that was created by infinite intelligence that infinite intelligence is ultimately going to condemn. But we're talking about their behavior, and we're talking ultimately about the thought forms within our own minds that create these experiences to begin with. So when he shall be judged, let him be condemned, and let his prayer become sin. So as far as those thought forms are concerned, they have no chance. But also as far as the person's behavior in your life, it has no chance either. They can't harm you anymore. Let his days be few, and let another take his office. So even though it sounds like we are asking that this person be killed and annihilated, and that's how we feel in the moment, just realize that infinite intelligence won't do that. But infinite intelligence will take it so that the situation is killed, the situation is turned around, and then that also the thought forms which back up that situation are annihilated. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow. Now that's something that we could really want for somebody, but that's not really necessarily going to happen. But the thought forms which cause this, that can happen. The thought forms no longer have any power to create children thought forms and children thought forms and children thought forms. So our minds are no longer expanding into this experience that we are having that is causing us to want to curse. right? We are asking that the cause of all of this within the mind be destroyed, because the thought forms which cause these circumstances that would even warrant us wanting to curse somebody don't come from infinite intelligence. They come from that illusory part of our mind, which we call the ego. And so they don't really exist ultimately. So we are well within our rights to ask that those thought forms be destroyed. Let his children be continually vagabonds and beg, and let them seek their bread also out of desolate places. So this is what we want. We don't want problems anymore. Those problems that are causing us to want to curse this person, we want those problems cut off completely, and there's no way back home. And the children of those thought forms will not have enough power to cause problems of their own. So the problem itself will stop expanding. Let the extortioner catch all he hath, and let the stranger spoil his labor. We're asking for infinite intelligence to kind of snare these people, within their own lies, within their own gossip, within their own problems. The problems that they're trying to create, we are asking that they be caught up in their own problems and caught within their own net. Now, ultimately, what we want is that the thought forms which caused us to have this in our lives be caught up in its own net. Again, we have the object of our disdain here, which is the person or the people, but we recognize that those are symbolic of something that's going on within our mind. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Okay, so we don't want mercy to these thought forms, definitely. These thought forms do not get mercy. And ultimately, what we're feeling right now is that we don't want these people or this person to have mercy either. Again, ultimately, that's not up to us, but it's well within our rights to ask for it. It's well within our rights to experience it, to feel it, to be honest about the fact that they really messed around with us. They've really screwed us over, and we don't want them to have power to do that again. Not to us, not to anybody. And that's our right to feel that way. Ultimately, the only way that that can come true is for us to kill those thought forms which caused it in the first place. Otherwise, we'll just be ready for the next person to come along and do something similar or even worse if we don't get the problem at its root, which is in our mind. Let his posterity be cut off, and in the generation following, let their name be blotted out. That's perfect for thought forms, right? Because this is it. Whatever's causing this problem, it's never going to happen again because I'm cursing that thought form. But remember that it's okay for you to have these thoughts about a person. It's okay for you to go through these thoughts about a person that's really messed with you, because you can't just run away from the way you're feeling. You've got to go through it. You got to just gnash your teeth and roll around in it sometimes. And if somebody's really messed with you, it's okay to go through this about them, ultimately understanding that you are healing your own mind when you do that. Right now, you want to make sure that they never can harm another person again. And so even with them, when you say the generation following, let their name be blotted out, yeah, ultimately, that would be bad. But the reason what you really want with this line in the psalm is not so much that nobody remembers who they are, but nobody will ever be bothered by them again. Let the iniquity of his fathers be remembered with the Lord, and let not the sin of his mother be blotted out. This is talking about the fact that people don't just become jerks. They learn how to become jerks. So the abuse that they got from their father, from their mother, let that be cursed also. And let that go on and on and on until we get at the root of this. Because we don't want this anymore. We don't want any of this anymore. Now, ultimately, what does that mean? Ultimately, that means that we want to follow that thought form in our own consciousness back to its inception and remove it and blot it out for eternity. Let them be before the Lord continually, that he may cut off the memory of them from the earth. Darkness cannot exist in the presence of light. When you bring something before the light has to dissolve the darkness, and then that will dissolve the memory of that darkness. So ultimately, we don't want the person's memory to be blotted out. We want the memory of the problem to be blotted out. And we want those thought forms which cause the problem to be blotted out forever. Because that he remembered not to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and the needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. Well, yeah, people that are really awful, people that are just vicious, that are brutes, that are just seem to be just evil incarnate, no matter what. They just, no matter how needy somebody is or how innocent somebody is, they just run right over them. They don't care. They don't care. And so we're just taking a stand now. We're saying we're not putting up with this. Now, we of our own selves can't do much about this, but we can sure go to our higher power and say, this shall not happen anymore. We are not going to stand for this. And infinite intelligence is saying, well, good, I don't stand for it either, but let me take it because you're just upset right now and you're not going to do much good. So I'll take it. well, I'll handle it. But ultimately, we are also asking that those thought forms within us, those egoic thought forms, which are so relentless and really don't have anything except for our own self-destruction in their programming, we want those things to be annihilated. As he loved cursing, so let it come unto him. As he delighted not in blessing, so let it be far from him. So this is a basic reversing spell here, whereas like, I'm just going to step out of the way. I need to step out of the way and let it come back on the whoever it is. I'm not going to take it in. I'm not going to involve myself anymore. And by going through a curse like this, we are, instead of it that like at the beginning where it says, I've been so nice and I've been praying and I've been thinking good thoughts and I've been forgiving and nothing's working. Well, that it's saying, well, yeah, maybe you need to go through whatever it is that you've been avoiding. And so that's what the psalm is having us do, is going through everything that we've been avoiding. And so the idea that this person or these people have been so awful, let their awfulness come back onto them rather than onto me, rather than onto the person doing this curse. As he clothed himself with cursing like as with his garment, so let it come into his bowels like water. So whether or not they actually are doing magic, it doesn't matter. If they're awful, if they're evil, if they are really doing evil things, it seems as though they are wearing a mantle of cursing, and that's all that they do. And so we want their own curses to come back into them, like drinking water. And then the old tradition of anointing with oil back in the ancient Hebrew times, they believed that, and they didn't just put a little bit of oil, they just poured oil on them. And they believed that that oil would seep into the skin and into the bones and be a permanent part of the person. So instead of the oil of blessing, we are seeing the oil of cursing here. The oil of cursing. That which is normally used for blessing, we want it to curse these people. We want it to destroy these people. Now again, ultimately what we need to destroy is the thought forms within our own minds. Let it be unto him as the garment which covereth him, and for the girdle wherewith he is girded continually. Just the clothes that this person wears, the belt that this person wears, the way that they are, the way that they walk around, let them be cursed. Let them live in it. They seem to get away with stuff all the time. They never seem to have any comeuppance. So let them sit with their curse. Let them be in the same cursed condition that they seem to be causing people. And they cause people problems again and again and again. No more of that. Let them have the curse. That's what we're saying. Now, ultimately, when we do that, what we're saying is, let the thought forms within my mind which allow for such a thing to happen to me, let those thought forms be cursed. Let those thought forms be destroyed. But again, it's the object of our disdain that we are talking about here. So if you don't have an object of disdain, that's fine. You can use it as far as working with your own egoic thought forms. But if you have somebody that is causing you so many problems, you can keep them in mind and know that you are safe when you're working this curse, because infinite intelligence isn't going to do anything with it that's going to cause you more harm. It's actually going to do everything that you need to be released from this situation. Let this be the reward of mine adversaries from the Lord, and let them speak evil against my soul. So they are going to be so upset at how bad things are, and they're going to know that it was you that did the curse. So let them speak evil. Let them just go curses as they fall deeply into the pit, right? And that's what's happening with your thought forms. That's what's happening with your thought forms. They'll know, oh, messed with the wrong person there, right? And the same thing with these people. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that to them, right? So the people and the thought forms both are going to remember that they messed with the wrong person here. But do thou for me, O God, the Lord, for thy name's sake, because thy mercy is good. Deliver thou me. Now we're getting to the bottom line here, that these curses that we are trying to heap on this person or these people, ultimately we are being clear here that it's not up to us to decide what to do with this, but it is up to us to say no more. And infinite intelligence will always help us, will always save us, will always remove problems from us when we bring things like this to them. But we have to realize also that it's very, very helpful and very therapeutic for us to go through this when we're upset with somebody or some group of people. Even though we don't have ultimate say whether they get the kind of treatment that we want, the fact that we are going through it is really purifying our own minds of it, and is in fact purifying our minds of the thought forms which make us so vulnerable to this kind of thing. So, but do thou for me, O God, the Lord, for thy name's sake, because thy mercy is good. Deliver thou me. So that's all we really care about, is deliver me from this. Deliver me from these problems. I've gone through my hissy fit. I've spoken my curses. It's in your hands now. It's not up to me. It's up to you. And when we say you, we don't mean something separate from us up in the sky. We are talking about the Creator that extends us as love. We are an extension of that Creator. And so anything that's not like love is what we just cursed. And since we just cursed it, we can let go of it, knowing that infinite intelligence has it. We don't have to do anything about it now. For I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me. So we are talking very clearly about the fact that we don't feel good about this. We are not feeling good, but that we are poor and needy, meaning that we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. We are bringing it to infinite intelligence, and we have faith and trust that it's going to be taken care of. I am gone like the shadow when it declineth. I am tossed up and down as the locust, being very honest about how we don't feel safe in this world, very honest about how we feel like we are at the effect of, and we are victims of this world. My knees are weak through fasting, and my flesh faileth of fatness. In these old times, and sometimes even in modern times, fasting was a way we thought was to get the ear of God, right? And it didn't seem to be working. We tried the fasting and it didn't seem to be working. Well, why? Because we never actually got down to the bottom of what we were experiencing. And that's what we're doing with this curse. And I became also a reproach unto them. When I looked upon me, they shaked their heads. And this is just talking about the after effects of me going through all of this. Even the people that love me and even the people that are good people in my life look at me and they're like, what is wrong with you? You just don't even seem to be yourself anymore. And we want to let go of this because we get so obsessive when we feel that we're unfairly treated and that we're wrong. We get obsessive about that, and we want to let go of it so that we can get back to living and we can get back to the good people in our lives. Help me, O Lord my God. O save me according to thy mercy. Again, help me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm laying it all on you, that thou may know that this is thy hand, that thou, Lord, hast done it. Show me, prove it to me. I want to see in my life evidence that you heard me. And that's your right. That's your right. But again, we do that because we know it's coming, not because we're worried that it's not coming, but we're going to say so. We have to have faith, just as we have faith that the sun comes up in the morning. When we work a piece of magic, whether it's a curse or whether it's a money spell, we have to have that utter faith that it's taken care of. And it is. Let them curse, but bless thou. They can curse all they want from this point on. We've taken it. We've done this. We know what we're doing. And why we're doing it. And we came to this spell knowing that this is going to take care of it. And so let them curse, because we are now blessed. When they arise, let them be ashamed. Let them know. Let them know. And also let those thought forms know we're on to them. And they're not going to be able to do this anymore. But let thy servant rejoice. In other words, we're going to be happy now. And let us do that. Let us do that. Let us rejoice now. That is the way that we can fix this. You know, when I say fix it, make it a fixed thing, make it a fixed reality. We will fix it into reality by rejoicing. Similar to the witch's cackle. right? When you know that your spell has taken when you start uncontrollably laughing. So we're going to uncontrollably rejoice about every aspect of our lives because we know it's handled. Let mine adversaries be clothed with shame, and let them cover themselves with their own confusion as with a mantle. Again, it's all coming back on them. We don't have to worry about it. It's all coming back on them. And ultimately, it's all that our thought forms are confused that cause this problem. They're confused and they have a mantle of shame on them. And when a thought form has a mantle of shame on them, that means that we will always remember not to go down those avenues that we went down that caused us to be vulnerable like this in the first place. We are taking responsibility for being in this problem. That is part of the reason why we're cursing, is because we're taking responsibility for it. No longer are we going to allow ourselves to be put into a position where people can treat us this way. I will greatly praise the Lord with my mouth. Yea, I will praise him among the multitude. So remember, getting back to praise. Praise always expands your good. If you praise the fact that you are free from the problems that caused you to do this curse, that praise will expand that reality. So praising is now all you do. You don't think about the curse anymore. The curse has been taken care of. The curse has been handled. It's been cast. Now it's in infinite intelligence's hand. And your job is only to praise. You don't seethe. You don't continue your hatred. This is when you can start forgiving, because it's out of your hands now. You've done it. It's been taken from you. You don't have to worry about this problem anymore. For he shall stand at the right hand of the poor to save him from those that condemn his soul. The right hand of the poor is you are poor in spirit, meaning you're emptying your mind now of everything and letting God fill it. Let God fill it with God's thoughts. And you are saved from anybody or anything which condemns you. And ultimately what condemns you is your own ego mind. So you are freed from your own condemnations, which then in turn free you from any external condemnations, which are simply a reflection of something that's going on in your mind. When you do a curse like this, remind yourself that yes, you can have an object of your disdain, but ultimately what you are cursing are the thought forms which caused the problem in the first place. But that doesn't mean that you don't be honest with who and what you're upset with. All right. And you're safe to do this curse because you're leaving it in the hands of the infinite. And you can keep coming back to the same psalm again and again until you have a sense of certainty that the problem has been handled. And then you definitely want to get off of this one and go on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really appreciate you. Much, much love and many, many blessings.